Okay, what's up guys, Game Fiend About Games here, and I'm back giving you yet another drama scripted Saturday. And how we start off with every drama scripted Saturday, we're going to go off with the Wednesday Night War ratings. And we have AEW back on top for the second week in a row with 845,000 viewers, next to NXT's 615,000 viewers. So AEW winning by over 200K, starting another week win streak with 2 weeks. And there's a lot of stories or what's going on in both companies, storyline wise, that I would like to talk about, give my thoughts on. And we're gonna, first I'm just gonna go through AEW, then I'm gonna, bring up the whole Big E singles run, my thoughts on that, but let me just review the Cody TNT title storyline thing, where this is going. So this past Wednesday, Cody versus Eddie Kingston. So Eddie Kingston makes his AEW debut against Cody in a no disqualification match. Cody wins. Next week, Cody defends the title against Warhouse, who's an indie wrestler from out of Missouri who used to wrestle for Beyond Wrestling. Orange Cassidy used to wrestle for Beyond Wrestling as well, and they had a match versus each other. So this is going to be the second week in a row that someone new debuts for AEW and they get a title shot at the TNT Championship, while people like MJF, who's undefeated, he beat GG, making him 8-0 on the year singles wise, still don't receive any title shot. But yet we've always told in AEW that wins and losses matter. So unless they're doing a slow build for All Out, which is still scheduled for September, I believe. It's either September or the end of August. So unless they're doing a slow build for another Cody versus MJF for the TNT title, unless they're doing that, I don't see where Cody's title reign is going, besides the fact that he defends the title every week. This would be back-to-back weeks where he defended the title against someone making their first ever AEW match, which to me really doesn't make sense when you have people like, well, even Kenny, but he's tag team champion. You have Hangman, but they're tag team champions. It's like they're not really building a singles division, because what are the main feuds right now in AEW? They're all faction feuds. So there's, besides Cage and Moxley, which John already beat Cage, besides that, there's no singles build, and now we're building up Cage and Darby for a singles build. You had Joey Janela versus Lance Archer. That was only like, what, 2 weeks? There's really no single storylines going on in AEW. It's all tag teams and factions. Big draw for this week's AEW was the Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade in a Falls Count Anywhere street fight match, which it started out in the kitchen with the Butcher and the Blade chopping up meat. That was a fantastic match. That match topped out at, apparently, it topped out at 1 million views. So that explains why. The overall AEW rating for this week is in the mid 800,000s because that match alone, that segment, which I think that was a 15-20 minute match, and that match didn't have picture-in-picture on commercial, which was very, very bad in my opinion. There was other matches that had picture-in-picture, but you would think a Falls Count Anywhere street fight where they could just, if you go to commercial, they could end up anywhere. That would be the match to put for picture-in-picture, but they put, I think they put the Cody match in picture-in-picture, and they put another match in picture-in-picture, but not the Falls Count Anywhere match. That was not in picture-in-picture. Because where they went to the commercial, Matt super kicked the Blade, and the Blade fell out and was going up the escalator, and then they cut to commercial, and the next thing you know, they're fighting their way to the ring. So we won't know what went on during commercial. That's the match that should have picture-in-picture. But moving forward, yeah, that match alone, that was what, 15-20 minutes. That match gained 1 million viewers. Oh, and Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, another singles feud. But it looks like it's turning into a faction feud with Jurassic Express and Best Friends versus the Inner Circle. And Sammy Guevara is back from his 30-day suspension. So there really isn't any singles builds really. It's just now Derby and Cage, Moxley and probably Cage in the future, Big Swole and Britt Baker, but Swole is suspended, and Britt Baker keeps on, every time she's in a promo, she's promoting the fact that she's gonna come back at All Out. Nyla Rose has Vicky Guerrero as her manager, but still no matches on Dynamite ever since she announced as Vicky Guerrero as her manager. So it's just been all faction feuds. Now we have, you know, Hangman Adam Page beat number 5, but when Brody Lee tried to convert Hangman to the Dark Order, and Hangman declined, the Dark Order jumped Hangman, and FTR came out, and then Kenny came out last. So there's some inner feud with that. I don't know. Hopefully FTR gets a title match, and then Hangman and Kenny will break apart, and we'll get that singles match eventually. I'm assuming that's what's going on. That possibly could happen, but that's pretty much AEW. It feels like they're heavily faction war based, and not really any singles feuds really going on. And apparently Matt Hardy is upset because they're not really doing anything with Matt Hardy. They brought him in, they brought back Broken, then they seem that he has control over his powers, or he doesn't have control, or he could be any Matt version of he wants. Then from out of nowhere, they make him Private Party's manager. That goes nowhere because Private Party doesn't win the titles. So it's like, what are they doing with Matt Hardy? So if rumors are true, if he is upset, I can see why, because they're not really doing anything with him. He's just there. So that's that. Moving on into the WWE side of things. Happy to see Braun Strowman not on SmackDown to keep, you know, the fact the Fiend basically drowned him in the swamp match, which I predicted that there was no way Braun Strowman was winning since we knew it was a non-title match, and we needed Bray Wyatt / the Fiend to get a victory because, you know, if he keeps losing, why are we afraid of this man if he keeps losing? So no Braun Strowman, keep him off TV for a while. I would say keep him off for like another 2 weeks. We magically got a #1 contender for AJ Styles Intercontinental Championship. It's going to be Grand versus AJ next week for the title. Matt Riddle and King Corbin feud still is going on. King Corbin put a bounty or ransom on Matt Riddle's head. I guess Lacey Evans turned heel because she lost a karaoke contest that was last week. And then Naomi gave a powerful, looks like a somewhat realistic promo with The Miz and Morrison. Very interesting. I think you guys should watch that promo. It's on WWE's Twitter when you guys get the chance. And then we have Kofi Kingston coming out of the training room and saying that he's injured because this, as of now, I feel like this is story. There's been no really official, if it's a real injury or a story injury. Apparently he got injured when Shinsuke Nakamura kicked him in the chest and then Cesaro powerbombed him through 2 tables when they lost the titles. So he got injured from that, because we don't know if this is real storyline. So I'm as of now, I'm gonna go and stay in storyline. And Kofi gave Big E his blessing to do a solo run, which Big E really deserves a solo run. So they're breaking up the New Day, but not breaking them up, if you know what I mean. So Xavier Woods is still healing from his Achilles torn, and now Kofi is injured. And he's apparently not going to be around for 6 weeks. So now they're going to solo push Big E, but where do you put him? I just gave you guys all the mid-card feuds. So, like I said, Grand is facing AJ next week for the IC title. And you have Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. And then you have the Sheamus still with Jeff Hardy, who accidentally woke in the Widow because Jeff fell on his head. It's almost similar how we got TNA's broken Matt Hardy. You know, it all starts with a head injury. So where do they fit Big E? I don't see where they put him in all this madness. And the main title, main event picture is taken, because we're gonna do The Fiend versus Braun Strowman, possibly at SummerSlam. But you know, I'm happy for the Big E push. Let's see where it goes. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited as well. In other news, there's been some rumors going around. Apparently Edge is heavily involved in the writing for Raw, and Daniel Bryan is heavily involved in the writing for SmackDown. So these two have been in the business 12 plus years max. So I trust their creativity. We all know Edge has been with the WWE for over 15 years, and Daniel Bryan's been wrestling half his life. So, because you know, if you guys only know his WWE, I suggest you look him up in ROH and stuff. So they've both been in the business well past over a decade. Interesting to see how they do with the writing or critiques they do, or full story plan outs that they do. I'm very interested. So let's see where everything goes from here. Another rumor we already have stapled is that Randy's gonna go over at SummerSlam. And SummerSlam has been, it's been taken out of the Boston arena. It's not canceled. They're probably just gonna do it at the Performance Center. But due to CDC and, you know, COVID pandemic is still a thing in the States, sadly, couldn't do it at the center in Boston, so it's probably going to be at the Performance Center. It's already been said that Orton's going to go over Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, and thus this is going to be an 8-month build with Orton as champion, and it's already rumored that it's going to be Edge versus Orton at the next WrestleMania, and an I Quit match. So we'll see if that still happens. Anything could change. I mean, first we got to get to SummerSlam to see if they're going to stick with that plan with Randy Orton going over. I honestly don't like it, because then we have, well, would this be I think this would be Randy Orton's 10th title reign, if I'm not mistaken. He would now officially be up there in the double-digit time. I think this would be 10 or 11. if they make Orton champion again. So, but I wouldn't like it because it's like it's yet another veteran. It's not a new face holding the title, and he's going to be holding, apparently rumored, he's going to be holding it for a long time, all the way up until WrestleMania. And even at that match, that I Quit match, if Edge goes over, that's still, yeah, and Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers. So it's as of me growing up, it's Edge, Christian, and Kurt Angle. My top 3 favorite superstars in the WWE of all time, me growing up. So been a huge part of half my life because I'm 30 and I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 or 5. So half my life, those 2, those 3. So it's like it's yet another old face having the title, which I would love to see someone new. Or since Big E's doing this solo push, be great if he won the Royal Rumble, and then he would go on to either face either Randy Orton, if he's rumored to still have the title by that time, or either Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman, which one of them will still have the SmackDown Universal title at that time. And hopefully Big E would go over to get his first main event title reign, which is well deserved, and it's overdue, in my opinion. Reason, it hasn't been said publicly, but there's heavy speculations that Apollo Crews may have COVID, because they keep saying that he keeps failing the WWE physical, which their WWE is doing testing now, so that would be the only thing that I could think of. Because if you physically look at him, he's in great shape, and he's stayed in that such great shape ever since he's been with the company. So there's speculations going on with that. As we know that Apollo Crews is the real US championship, and MVP is just being a holder, because he's not. He's just holding the new belt. So like I said, it's rumored, or it's being speculated that he has it. He hasn't been on TV since I think June 22nd or June 27th was his last appearance. So who knows how long WWE is going to be able to drag him being off television with these technically 2, well, still 1, but you know, MVP has a physical title and he's on every week. Who knows how long they're gonna drag this out. So only time will tell. But that's going to wrap this up for this week's Drama Scripted Saturday. Remember, there's Drama Scripted Saturday every Saturday. If you like what you have witnessed, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Share this video if you care about this video. And until next week, guys, I'm Game Infinite of All Games, and I'm out of here. Later, and peace. Be safe, everyone.